championship bound, baby! Woo! Big love, baby! Woo! Here, man. It got a little crazy out there, but we made it through.
We're gonna keep stacking the day, so see you in the championship.
Bow! Let's go!
June 17th wasn't just another matchup. It was revenge night. Think back to May 30th, when Jacy Sheldon and the Connecticut Sun left Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Carlson hurt on the floor. The dirty plays went unchecked, and the Fever didn't forget. So when Sheldon poked Caitlin Clark right in the eye during the rematch, something inside Clark and her squad snapped. What followed showed why you never mess with her teammates. Because Sophie Cunningham delivered one of the most satisfying flagrant fouls you'll ever see. If you ride with the Fever, drop CC and Spicy Sophie in the comments. Let's go.
It was chippy the last time these two teams faced off too. Sophie Cunningham suffered her ankle injury in that game, but in addition to that, she actually had part of her front tooth knocked out. She made contact with Jacy Sheldon as Caitlin Clark knocks down the triple.
But what people don't talk about enough is how hard you have to work to be able to be that good. All the hours that she's spent perfecting her craft.
Retreating, firing, and hitting.
So she can do that.
On Indiana arguing the call.
I mean, step back, you're late. She almost looks you in the eye.
Picture May 30th. Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sunday. From the start, things spiraled. What should have been a normal clash between two playoff-hungry teams turned ugly. The Suns' physicality crossed the line. Less competition, more cheap shots. You could feel the tension building from the tip-off, and it only...
Can we talk about the physicality for a second? Two players on the Indiana Fever got injured last night by the same player on the Connecticut Sun, and that was Jacy Sheldon. And I tweeted about it. She was playing so reckless. I'm fine with players playing aggressive, but there is a thin line between playing aggressive and playing reckless. When you dive for a ball, you don't land on somebody's leg. She landed on top of Sydney Colson's leg, and her leg got stuck and literally twisted around. Both injuries, both Sydney Colson and Sophie Cunningham, were contact injuries.
Sophie Cunningham was the first to fall, taken down by contact far too rough to be brushed off as routine. Then Sydney Carlson got clipped in another questionable sequence, leaving everyone wondering if these hits were accidents or intentional. The common denominator? Jacy Sheldon. She was in the middle of both plays, bringing a brand of aggression that went beyond basketball.
They weren't non-contact. They weren't ACLs, they weren't Achilles, they were contact injuries caused by the same player. And this kind of physicality that the WNBA they brag about. They say it's always been a physical league. That's just the heart of the it's not good basketball. And we've seen so many injuries. Paige Becker's out with a concussion. Rakia Jackson was out with a concussion. All of these injuries are contact plays. We've seen Caitlin Clark last year get chucked to the ground. We saw Angel Reese get clothesline chucked to the ground. The players continue to do it because the refs are allowing them. Why wouldn't you keep doing it if you're a physical player?
This wasn't just about the Fever. The history between Sheldon and Clark went all the way back to college. At Iowa versus Ohio State, Sheldon's mission was clear: get under Clark's skin. She trailed her step for step, bumped her off screens, and chirped during dead balls. It wasn't just strategy, it was personal. That bad blood carried over into the pros.
Her mortal enemy took out a player. Jacy Sheldon. Caitlin Clark's mortal enemy, Jacy Sheldon.
On May 30th, the refs lost control. Hard fouls slid by with no whistles. Dangerous plays were brushed aside. Clark watched her teammates go down while Sheldon skated by, without even a warning. The frustration boiled over as the Fever fought to the buzzer, losing 85-83. But the bigger loss was two starters sidelined with preventable injuries. Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Carlson were out, and the ripple of...
This is a reckless play. This is reckless. It is dangerous. And this angle makes it look even worse. It is dangerous. Like, Sid Colson is between her and the ball. Sid Colson is, in fact, between Jacy Sheldon and the ball, and she dives through her knee. It wasn't even called as a foul. It wasn't even called as a foul.
What made it worse? Cunningham's injury wasn't even whistled a foul. You could see the fire in Clark's eyes post-game, the handshake line glare, the clipped answers in her interview. This wasn't done. The Fever had their receipts, and June 17th was circled in red. By then, Clark was back from her quad injury, fresh off handing the undefeated Liberty their first loss. Walking into the Sun rematch for her second game back, Clark's body language said it all. This wasn't just business, it was personal.
So, she just texts me. She never texts me during the game.
All right. Here is Clark splashing home a three from way downtown. Kelly escorting her back to the bench.
Jacy Sheldon is there with her hand in her face.
From the opening minutes, the tension was thick. Sheldon locked onto Clark with suffocating defense, shadowing her every move, bumping her on screens, and making every possession a grind. It was the same reckless style that left Cunningham and Carlson hurt weeks earlier. Everyone in the building could sense where this was heading.
And Caitlin Clark are talking to the official. They're both going at it saying, hey, oh, there's a little extra right there. Uh-oh. Then Marina steps in to protect JC.
Then came the third quarter, the breaking point. Clark dribbled up the floor. Sheldon closed in, swiping for the ball. Instead, her finger went straight into Clark's eye. The contact was sharp, immediate, and obvious. Clark's head jerked back instantly. The entire arena gasped.
Third quarter we go. They're trailing by 10. Keep an eye on her and Jacy Sheldon. Clark trying to back her down.
Clark is okay.
Sheldon fouls Clark, hitting her in the face. Clark is upset about that. Then everybody's upset about that. Marina Mabrey comes in. She decks Clark, tempers flaring on both sides.
Clark clutched her face, grimacing, her vision blurred with pain and fury. This wasn't just about an eye poke. It was about payback for what happened weeks earlier. Sheldon hadn't stopped targeting the Fever, and this time, Clark was the victim. Instinctively, she shoved Sheldon away. Who wouldn't after being jabbed in the eye? The crowd erupted, recognizing what had really happened. But unbelievably, the referee...
I mean, is that displacement? I think it
That
is.
Oh, and Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected.
Well, they're going to go and look at it. Look at Mabrey. She's got a scar on one side, a scratch on one side of her face, a scratch on the other side. It's not from the game today. I asked her about it. She's always in the mix. There's a lot of contact here. There's a scrape across the face. That's what Clark didn't like.
Clark stood there, hand over her eye, clearly the victim of a dangerous play. Yet whistles blew, and not against Sheldon. The officials slapped Clark with a technical foul for pushing back. The arena buzzed in disbelief. Fans pointed to replays showing the eye poke in slow motion, but the ref stood firm. Clark had dropped 32 points in her first game back, only to be punished for defending herself. The message was clear. Players could take shots at her, and if she reacted, she'd pay the price. But the chaos wasn't over. Marina Mabrey was watching, and she was about to escalate everything.
Take another look as we try to figure out what exactly went down. So you see her get hit in the face. Jacy Sheldon doesn't like that, and everybody on the team doesn't like it. Marina trying to have her teammates back, pushes her down. You see a little bit of drama all the way around. Tina, Charles, Clark, and Mabrey, they received technical fouls. Sheldon received a flagrant 1 foul.
Moments after Clark's technical, Marina Mabrey made her move. With Clark still reeling from the eye poke, Mabrey crossed the line in a way that stunned everyone. What she did next turned a heated game into a full-blown controversy.
That's what Clark didn't like. And then Mabrey came in with a bump.
And Mabrey's day is almost assuredly going to be done. But both teams.
This wasn't basketball contact. This was straight-up assault. Marina Mabrey body-checked Caitlin Clark like this was hockey instead of basketball, sending her crashing to floor. The collision was so blatant and unnecessary that even casual fans could tell what had just happened. Clark hit the hardwood hard, and the stunned look on her face showed she knew another Connecticut Sun player had just taken a cheap shot at her.
And then Marina Mabrey comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor. Now let's watch this in slow motion. Here, Jacy Sheldon is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. There's one. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlin pushes her off of her, like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabrey, bat out of hell, chucks Caitlin Clark to the ground.
The entire Fever bench jumped up after watching their star get assaulted right in front of the referees. Teammates pointed directly at Mabrey, shouting at the officials, desperate for someone in stripes to finally step in. The crowd erupted in disbelief, unable to process what they were witnessing on their home floor. Coach Stephanie White completely lost it on the sideline, screaming at the refs who somehow refused to react. She gestured wildly, pointing at Mabrey, trying to make it clear this was far beyond ordinary basketball contact. White knew Clark was targeted again, and the officials were about to miss another obvious call.
Now after this, you guys, of course, the referees are going to review the play because that's a lot of contact going on right there. That's a lot of unnecessary contact. That's a lot of non-basketball contact happening during this play, right? So the three referees that I like to say, they got them straight out of Sephora because I don't think these referees have ever refereed a professional basketball game in their life. They took these referees, they were at the monitor, they looked at it for, I'm not even exaggerating, you guys, like 15 minutes. 15 minutes they are watching this play over and over.
The referees only gave Mabrey a common technical foul, the exact same penalty Clark had received earlier for simply defending herself after being eye-poked. Think about that. Clark gets poked in the eye, pushes a player away, and it's a technical foul. Mabrey body checks Clark to the ground in retaliation, and it's the same technical foul. The math didn't add up, and every single person in the
announcers here are saying, of course, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected because that was unwarranted. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. There should be a flagrant one, of course, on Jacy Sheldon because she swiped her and hit her in the eyeball. Whether it is intentional or not, you can still have a flagrant a flagrant foul called on you, whether you are trying to intentionally hurt somebody or not. But this is what they called, you guys. This is what they called. Caitlin Clark, Marina Mabrey, Tina Charles were assessed with technical fouls on Tuesday. Caitlin, Marina, and Tina Charles. Technical fouls. That's it. Technical fouls. That's it. And Jacy Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul, and no players were ejected.
Coach White exploded in the post-game press conference. When officials don't control the game, when they allow that kind of stuff to go on, and it's been happening all season long, this is a result, she said. She had reached her breaking point after watching her players get targeted, while referees stood by and let it continue.
When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game, it's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right? Out of fierce competition. So I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So they got to get control of it. They got to be better.
By then, the message was crystal clear. The officials weren't going to protect Caitlin Clark, so her teammates would have to do it themselves. Sophie Cunningham had been watching everything unfold from the bench, and she was determined to prove that nobody messes with her teammate. In the final minute of the game, with the Fever up big at 87-70, Cunningham locked in on Jacy Sheldon, who had the ball. The clock was winding down, but Sophie wasn't thinking about the score anymore. She was thinking about May 30th when she got hurt, about watching Clark get eye-poked without consequences. and about Mabrey slamming her teammate to the floor.
So now let's talk about Sophie Cunningham. At the end of the game, Jacy Sheldon is going for a fast break layup and Sophie Cunningham is running with her. And I remember in my head, like, it happened in a split second and I said, oh, let's see. Let's see what happens here.
Cunningham remembered that May injury vividly. She remembered sitting on the bench while Sheldon kept playing like nothing had happened. She remembered the referees letting everything slide while Clark and others took hit after hit. Now Sheldon was driving hard to basket, and Sophie saw her moment arrive.
Sophie commits a hard foul on Jacy Sheldon. Again, as Jacy Sheldon is going up for a layup, Sophie bear hugs her and takes her to the ground. What I will say is Sophie did not grab her and throw her to the ground. She didn't body slam her. She didn't do anything, in my personal opinion. Maybe I'm biased here, but I'm gonna give you guys my straight up honest opinion on this. She bear hugged her, took her to the ground. Yes, it was intentional. It was absolutely intentional.
Cunningham lined up Sheldon and delivered one of the most satisfying, hard fouls you'll ever see. Wrapping her up, she pulled her straight down to floor. This wasn't a basketball play, it was payback. It was justice. Sophie Cunningham sent a message that nobody touches her teammates without consequences. The officials assessed her a flagrant 2, leading to an automatic ejection. Sheldon and Lindsay Allen were also tossed for their roles in the scuffle. 3 players were ejected.
It was, to me, payback for what was happening the entire game. But she did it in a way that she wasn't gonna injure Jacy. She was just making it known, like, if the refs aren't gonna handle it, I will handle it. We'll take care of it, but this is not what you're going to do when you come into our house. It was an intentional foul. It was a hard foul. She brought her down. But with that, you guys, Jacy Sheldon got up and she was ready to go. So as you guys can see in this video, a whole scuffle breaks out. Sophie and Jacy are going after it. Both teams are running over, trying to break it up. It kind of goes into the fan section a little bit.
Caitlin Clark still finished with 20 points and 6 assists, guiding the Fever to an 88-71 victory that felt like so much more than a win. Natasha Howard recorded her 50th career double-double with 16 points and 12 rebounds, while Kelsey Mitchell added 17 points of her own. It was a total team performance, but everyone knew what really defined the night.
A rare miss at the rim for Aaliyah Boston, the league's top field goal percentage shooter in the WNBA, but it's Boston who comes up with the steal and the find to Howard. Clark working on the rookie. Clark on the drive. Hang, shot too strong. There's Howard to clean up.
And Clark working off the ball, comes off the stagger.
3rd year in her WNBA in terms of setting up her teammates. Clark behind the back, feed inside. 2 more for Howard.
This wasn't just about beating the Sun. This was the Fever proving they would not be bullied, they would not be intimidated, and they would always protect their own. The victory sent them to the franchise's first ever Commissioner's Cup final. But more importantly, it sent a message to the rest of the league. Target their players and you'll pay the price.
The Indiana Fever fans were chanting, Sophie, Sophie. Sophie's jersey is gonna sell out tonight. She's gonna be in the All-Star game tonight just from this one play because she was standing on business. It wasn't a dirty play. It was an intentional foul and it was meant to send a message. It turned into a scuffle and I don't think anybody wanted that.
The Fever got their revenge for that brutal May 30th loss. Caitlin Clark got her justice after being eye-poked and body-checked. Sophie Cunningham became a hero by standing tall when it mattered most. Sometimes the officials won't protect you, but teammates always will. That's exactly what happened on June 17th. When Indiana showed the entire basketball world they were not backing down.
Oh, and Clark just took it away. It's a 2-on-1. Clark bounce pass, pretty fine, and Mitchell won't miss from there.
This game proved the Indiana Fever weren't just talented. They were a family that fights for each other when adversity hits. When referees fail, teammates like Sophie Cunningham step in and handle business. That's what true loyalty looks like in professional sports. The Commissioner's Cup final awaits on July 1st against the Minnesota Lynx. And after seeing how this team responds to adversity and stands together, 2025 looks brighter than ever for Fever fans. Remember this moment when anyone claims loyalty doesn't matter in sports. Sophie Cunningham proved them wrong. If you support the Fever, drop CC and Spicy Sophie in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a moment.